Hey friends, it's Derek from TCI, and I'm here in this empty room. Every time I'm in an empty room, what I think about is why isn't there a network in here yet? Well, let's make that happen. I've got a little project going on and a network that needs rescuing. Here is the project for this video. It's a network that needs rescuing. Not from itself. If you look at it, it looks fine. It's well designed, it works. What does it need rescuing from? Well, it's in a bad spot. For starters, they're going to knock this entire wall down and clear this room out and turn it into a hallway. There's a big renovation going on in this building, and this server room is a major obstacle for the construction workers. We've got to get everything out of here and move it somewhere else. All these wires, all these switches, and all these network devices. They're coming out. Hey friends, let's talk about some of the challenges we're going to have moving these wires. First challenge, they come from different directions. Take a look. So we've got over here, coming from the ceiling, bundles of cable that break out and go into this cabinet. But also, if you take a look, PVC pipes coming out of the wall at a lower angle, those come out, go into the rack from a different angle. We've also got fiber optic cables that we're dealing with that need to stay in operation, so those are going to be pulled out of their various pipes and either extended or moved as needed. Let's keep looking at some of the things that we have to address. So in the empty room, here is the other side of that wall, looking at those holes that were down low. We've got apparently just a channel. I can see clear through to the other side, and then we've got a 90-degree elbow joint that I'm going to need to open up. The elbow joint's going to be a problem, as well as these other pipes going down. That wall that we're looking at is going to be demolished, so all of this has to be cleared. Let's see what's in the elbow joint and see if maybe we can pull it apart. So cracking the case on this, well, we've got not what I was expecting, to be honest with you. So we have an RJ doing nothing. Cut wires. Maybe this is a good sign. When wires are cut, we can just clear them easily from the pipe, and that will reduce our workload. Ultimately, we're looking to turn this into a bit of a just straight up and down pipe, so this may work out. Every good network rescue starts with bringing friends and having preparation. If you work in parallel, you can get a lot more done in the same amount of time. That's just common sense. In terms of preparation, we're going to make a map of where all these cables are going. I need to know which panel they start from and which device and which port they plug into. That's going to take some time. So while that's happening, we'll build up the rack in the other empty room. That's going to be the new home for where all this equipment's going to live. All we have to do is get it to the other side of the wall. No big problem, right? I hope they have a really good service loop. To get the new space ready, we're going to be putting some plywood up on the wall and the cabinet, as well as some ceiling interfaces. Now, as per usual, we can't seem to find any studs. They're few and far between. So what we're going to do with the one stud that we can find is line the plywood up on the center and lock onto that stud. And then for the sides, we'll be putting toggle bolts to support the weight of the rack. The cabinet itself is from Tech Mojo, and they make a very lovely rack. It goes on the wall easily and has nylon covered entrances, which we really appreciate. We also cut some ceiling interfaces. That's this white plastic circle that you see here. That screws on to the drywall in the ceiling and gives us pretty good grip and allows us to pass cables from the ceiling space down into the cabinet. Back on the other side, now that everything is labeled and mapped out and we have something that we can reference in our phones, what we then do is transfer the labels from the front of the panel to the back of the wires. We write directly on the wires before cutting them so that if they get separated from their friends, we know where they belong. So I had to run to my car and pick up something. One of the fun things about doing these videos for as long as I have is that things get harder and harder to see. So I just transferred a label from the front of the panel to the rear so that I could write on the patch cord and snip it. And of course, I couldn't read what I had written down. So a very important tool in my toolbox is this. And now I'll continue transferring labels. Now, we're planning to move one panel per evening over the course of a week so that we don't destroy the entire network for this organization. If there are any mistakes, it will be of a manageable size that we can fix and won't affect the entire building. So you'll see us move one group of cables at a time. Right now, we've picked the panel that we found had the longest service loop, figuring it'd probably be the easiest. One feature that would be nice is if we could reach above this solid ceiling and feed wires directly into our cabinet. To make that happen, we're going to cut a gigantic square out of the drywall of the ceiling and give ourselves an opening that we can close later with a plumber's hatch. We picked the spot carefully. Everything was measured in advance before any cuts were made. Don't ever cut into somebody's ceiling without knowing exactly what you're not going to hit when you get up there. Having this portal to the plenum world makes life so much easier. We get the first 48 cables over to the cabinet without much difficulty. We immediately set about terminating them ASAP. Remember, this is night work. They're going to be open for business in just a few hours. If we bite off more than we can chew, we won't have time to fix anything that fails testing. Everything needs to be tested like this because even though we get the panel side right, we have no idea what went on out on the floor. We have to check both ends of the horizontal links. So termination and putting connectors on these fast is the name of the game. The sun is coming up. For these switches, the IT company has opted to use the Unify brand of switch. They're using DAC cables, direct attach copper, to uplink the switches together. This isn't going to work at the distance between these two spaces, so I've brought a fiber cable that we're going to connect between the two stacks. One switch at a time will move from the old rack to the new one. We'll be sure to check that all their computers are online and access points are working as expected. In this manner, we can move their network in portions a little bit each evening, and then if there's any screw-ups, it's very manageable to hunt down one or two mistakes in a panel, and we haven't cut their entire network and shut them down permanently. They're able to keep working while we sort out anything that didn't go as planned. After we get the first switch moved over and everything is tested, it's just a game of repetition. For the cables that are long enough, we move them one panel at a time each night. Then we move the switch and test the network. Then we repeat it again, night after night, until we've moved all of the network elements into the new cabinet. The old one is getting emptied out, and all that's left now are critical path devices, such as batteries, firewalls, and modems. The cables that routed through the pipes that went down low on the wall are cleared, and then we're able to bring them up into the ceiling. Many of these are far too short to reach the target space. What do we do in that situation? You have two choices. You can either put a splice connector in line and try to extend that cable, or you're going to rerun it. I'll let you guess which route I took. Because we're working at night, we're able to take down the internet, knock the modems offline, and all that good stuff. That frees up the batteries so that we can start to optimize the placement of all this equipment in the rack. You'll notice we have a lot of plywood and empty space just below the rack. We're going to start placing vertical mount racks right there so that they can hold some of the miscellaneous equipment that just doesn't have anywhere to live. One of the constraints of this job is that the old rack cannot be kept. They don't want to wheel it into the new space. They want everything tight against the wall because they're going to use this other space as storage. Now, if you take a look at how we've arranged the vertical racks and the modems that are on this plywood, you might think we're crazy. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little sleep deprived by this point. However, you can arrange these things by groups. So all of the ISP related devices are together and patched into each other, should make for easy labeling. And then the battery is kept just below. That one's going to be feeding the server that is in the other rack, the old area. That one's going to be brought over by the IT crew. I don't touch servers that I didn't install. I'm not going to be held liable for any spinning disks that get messed up if I try to move the thing live or power it down unexpectedly. Once we have all the network elements in place and the batteries all in the same room together, that means the old space can be moved out of. All that's really left is cable dressing. We'll do what we can to make these cables nice and easy to maintain. That's the end. Look at that. A thing of beauty. Another network rescued. Thanks for hanging out with us on these late evenings. We really appreciate it that you guys stuck it out with us. We'll see you again real soon when we rescue the next network.